Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior, and I'm gonna make maybe 2, maybe 3 videos today. You'll notice because I'm wearing the same clothes and same hair, makeup, etc. But this is one of my journal videos. I just want to come clean and be totally real with you guys. I feel like it will relieve me, take a lot of stress and pressure off of myself. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably noticed that I've made, some posts with some shady captions under them. And if you're not following me on Instagram and Twitter, you should be. And my Facebook page too. So if you thought that something changed with me, it did. I'm no longer working at the school that I was. The job in which I was posting, videos of the kids and pictures from field trips, etc. I'm no longer there. And if you care to stalk me, look back at stuff, you'll find the company's name. I will start this off right away by speaking good about my job. I will be the bigger person, something that they felt to do. I am so grateful for the opportunity to have worked at that school. I was saved by them. They helped me out so much by giving me pay advances, by giving me a nice position, by, providing me with a sublet apartment and getting me out of Kobe. There was so much stuff that company did for me. I was able to get the help that I needed, and some help I even turned down. I've always tried my best to be transparent and open with you guys. Of course, I am human. I have to protect myself, my feelings, my personal business, and privacy. Everything that happens to me, I don't want to share. And everything that I do share is not always easy to share. My channel is smaller. If I ever do get a bigger channel, I can only imagine all of the hate and forums and people trying to dig and find stuff. So it's might as well just tell you right here, right now. And even with my channel being as small as it is, even now, I have people that, are trying to dig and find stuff. People trying to message my boyfriend and take him away from me. Just weird, crazy stuff. So I already have obsessive, stalkerish people, as you've probably seen me argue back and forth with them in my comment sections. And I always tell myself I'm going to stop, which I need to. I need to just start ignoring people. But anyway, I loved my position. I loved being a teacher at that school because I had so much freedom. I loved my students, and there were things that I disagreed with and had problems with at my job, and I'll be honest with that too. My bosses were Muslim, they were Islamic, and before you try to get on me on that, I have personal experience with Islam because I grew up in an Islamic household, and despite my personal feelings towards their religion, I didn't like that it was secretly being pushed as an agenda upon the students. For example, if there was something that one student couldn't participate in, eat or do, other students couldn't. And in order to make the parents happy, they would give them distractions. So for example, there was no Halloween party, but instead we had what we called ICF, International Children's Festival, in which kids could still dress up, etc. Them changing from, not allowing the Halloween party, to respect their religious beliefs, it pissed off a lot of the Japanese and foreign parents, and thus they lost a lot of students through this. But that was just one of many examples. Christmas, Easter, etc. Anything that's, related to Christianity or pagan holidays, whatever type stuff, they were not allowed to do. Again, I speak from experience. My family is Islamic on my mother's side, and I'm well aware of a lot of the rules. There's differences between Black and Middle Eastern Muslims, and I'm not going to get into that in this video. I'm not here to protect people's feelings. I'm speaking about how I honestly felt, and I'm being real. My bosses were also sexist, and they were very cliquish. And again, while there were issues within my company, it never really bothered or affected me so much because I felt like I could trust them. And I learned recently that I couldn't. And unfortunately, it was too late by the time I did, figure that out. But back on subject, nevertheless, I worked by myself. I had the freedom to teach how I wanted to, when I wanted to, and decide what materials and how I wanted to teach lessons. There was no true structure. There were small goals that you ultimately needed to meet, and that was pretty much it. It was a dream job for me. I am someone that has worked tons of jobs, both, retail positions, both teaching positions, both in the US as well as in Japan. I almost said the US and America. So it was really something great for me to finally have a job. This is the first and only job I've ever had where it did not feel like a chore going to work. I looked forward to going to work. I would wake up early. I was almost 2 hours early every single day. I would stay late almost every single day. I wasn't getting paid overtime. I just truly loved my job that much. And because I did, I ignored things. I didn't care about the sexist and inappropriate remarks that my boss would make about me or my coworkers and friends. I didn't care about the drama and cliques going on at work because it didn't really affect my job. My job was teaching. I was a teacher, and there was no real communicating with other staff unless you wanted to be friends with them and go out for lunch together or do stuff outside of work, which I did sometimes, but I wasn't really big on that type of stuff. I'm here to get paid. I'm here to teach my kids. I'm here to do my job. So it never really bothered me, and I didn't really care or notice too much stuff. I was aware of unfair things, which I'll talk about all of this maybe eventually when I get the time to type it all or make a video for it for my Patreons. For my patrons, whatever you call them. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave it here. So yeah, I got stressed out during online teaching, being totally honest with you guys. And my boss pissed me off by setting me up to basically embarrass me in front of my coworkers by asking me fake questions, to which he was going to give his own 2 cents on what he felt like I should do. And it upset me. I overreacted and I was unprofessional. And I didn't say anything then, but I had made it in my mind that I wanted to quit. He really, really made me upset. So I went and I called his assistant / whatever. They're supposed to basically both be equals. And I expressed to her that I wanted to quit, and she calmed me down, whatever, and everything was good to go. And then the next day, I just suddenly decided, shortly before I was supposed to work, I cannot do this, I'm done. And after that, she had to, tell me oh, okay. So she got my co-teacher to take over my class. And then, I don't remember if she's the one who called my boss or if I had to call him or how that worked, but the boss, the principal. And I spoke to him and pretty much told him the same thing. And he tried to talk me down. I was trying to be reasonable with me, I'll be honest. And I rejected it only because during his offer, he was talking out of both sides of his mouth. He made it sound like he was understanding me and willing to work with me, but then was also, I can't remember his exact words, but essentially calling me unprofessional and accusing me of, being in the wrong and not understanding things. Basically defending my boss, my lower level boss, which I understand his feelings towards it. But this is where the problem with the cliques came in, and Islam. It was like the Muslim staff who all run and own the school. They stick together. You cannot fire them. One of the staff members was actually stealing money. This was a former principal. And instead of firing him, they just moved him to another school. Another staff member, he was touching on the children there. And what did? They didn't even move him to another school. They changed his position to working in the office. So it's little things like that. That again, because it wasn't affecting me, I didn't have proof that these things happen. I'm just going based on what other teachers told me. I kind of ignored everything, wasn't a big deal. But during that moment, I got really upset. And I could even hear my mom's voice in my head telling me, Ren, don't do that. Toughen up, suck it in. Don't let their words make you, regret this. And I stupidly went ahead with it. And I decided I was done. And even after that, I regretted my decision the next day. And I spoke to one of my lower level bosses, head teacher. And I explained to her, how I was feeling. And so I spoke to one of my lower level bosses and I basically told her how I was feeling. And I explained that I regretted what I said and that I did still want to work there, blah, blah, blah. And it was kind of the same thing with her. When I was speaking to her, it felt like I was talking to an enemy. She didn't, excuse me, I have hair in my mouth. She didn't seem to really care. It was kind of like she was enjoying getting my side of the story because it was just being used as gossip. And based on the results of it, it was very clear to me that, she wasn't really trying to fight to help me keep my job. Rather, she felt like she was of some importance because I never spoke to her. She was over me, but she really only worked with the primary teachers, and I was a kindergarten teacher. So I never had reason to speak to her. And because I knew she was friends with the previous teacher, the girl whose position I took, and I knew that girl didn't like me, I felt weird talking to her. So let me turn my camera down a little bit. My floor is messy. Excuse my home. Okay, sorry. So anyway, it just felt really weird. And I only spoke to her because one of my friends suggested that I do so, and I regretted it. So long story short, I ended up talking to the boss, the principal, on Zoom, and I was literally in tears, like crying, because I regretted my decision to quit. And basically, he said on the call that they weren't going to let me back basically because of pride. He had a policy. It's like, nigga, you only been here for a year. Excuse me. Dude, you've been working at this company for what, a year and a half, 2 years. He was trying to act like he had been, running this school for 10, 20 years or something, like he's never done this. And he compared me, gave an example of a student, how, they left and they went to a competitor school, and how he didn't allow them to come back, and how he made it very clear to them that if they leave, even if they don't like the other school, they're not allowed to come back to that school type things. Like, that's pretty stupid, but okay. Again, to me, it sounds like a whole control thing. Islamic people tend to be that way. I am not worried about hurting feelings. I'm going to speak real. I'm not going to censor myself to make people feel better. Again, speaking from personal experience, I was raised with that. I'm speaking for myself. So anyway, yeah, so then it's like, you just like added salt into my wound. Like, that's what I don't like about him. Like, he just rubs things in, like just makes it even worse and worse and worse. And I had similar conversations with this dude, in the past, but again, didn't really care too much. I was used to it because of my family. I remember he had a meeting with me about coming to work late, because I did started like showing up to work late after I moved back to Osaka. I was coming in like 5-10 minutes late, but there were generally no students there. You normally get like an hour of prep time before the kids come. And he said to me, he asked me, what I wanted to do, and he basically told me that, if I couldn't take my job seriously and come to work on time, that I should consider being a housewife. And like, he went on like with a rant on that, and then started like telling me how I remind him of his daughter, and he always just did like weird, inappropriate stuff. Like, he whistled at me on graduation day. He's referred to my looks, by being sexy, and just all kind of weird stuff. And again, I mean, he should see my Instagram. But, this is work. They don't know anything about that. I don't dress like that at work. So it's like, for these type of things to be said to an employer, completely inappropriate. But I'm in Japan. Again, I'm used to being around Islamic men. Nothing really phases me at this point. But it was like everything like came together quickly at the end. He was very like straightforward, strict, and was trying to put on this fake, tough guy thing, and then started trying to refer to me as his daughter, but how it's hard to let you go, blah, blah, blah. So again, long story short, not going to get into all the details of it. They gave me the option to stay at the school until July, and I accepted it. And during this time, I began looking for another job. I was at Umeda Station, and I came across a guy that was a scout for a modeling agency. I filled out an application. I did a couple of interviews, casts, whatever. They liked and accepted me, and they sent me messages. I will talk about that in more detail as I get more information. Nothing is set in stone for this, and no, I'm not going to be like some model, big actress or something like that. It's a very small gig that pays close to nothing. And it's on a popular TV show. It's one of those like dumb shows where you basically like pat Japan on the back about how awesome everything is, and you go around and try stuff, and Japanese people comment and watch and laugh type thing. So but still, like, just the fact that it's an opportunity for something like that, as well as the opportunity to do some print modeling possibly. So that was a really nice surprise. But what was even better was, as I was filling out these applications, I came across a position to teach as a professor at a university. And as I was filling out that application, I already felt like I was wasting my time. But considering that this pandemic was going on, I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and give it a shot. And sure enough, I was accepted. But the problem is this position would not start until the fall, and it's not as secure as working, a normal teaching job at an international school. And I have mixed feelings. I feel like I'm more passionate about teaching adults and older people, but the lazy side of me prefers younger kids because you don't have to prepare and prep so much. And of course, they're more loving and cute and fun. And, for me, it's almost like a fix to make me feel good about not having children. I really want to be a mom, but at the same time, I'm glad I don't have kids right now. So I feel like it's like that balance. Like they're kids that I borrowed temporarily. I have them for most of the day. I get to go home, enjoy my weekend, don't need a babysitter, and I have, a lot of them. You get 20 of them all at once. So it's kind of great. And so anyway, yeah, I got amazing opportunities. And as soon as that came, I was like, I quit. And I decided not to carry through with it. And what hurt me was that after I left, my bosses started trying to go to my work friends and ask them stuff about me. And so they were trying to paint this picture of me being this unstable teacher and of me being like, an alcoholic, like all of this just crazy rumored stuff. And so it's like, you can't just handle the fact that your teacher quit. And I wasn't going to quit. It was the fact that they couldn't give me the security of knowing that I have my job. And it's like there's no tourists in Japan. And the foreigners that are still in the country, they didn't have jobs before this pandemic. They didn't want a job because they're a stay-at-home wife or whatever they are, or they already have a stable career that's giving them money. Thus, most of them aren't really looking for jobs. This is not the time to hire people. But you still won't let your teacher come back. You would rather have to lie to and explain to the parents what happened to me. So it's like, why fight for this job? They don't care about me at this point. And so, of course, after that, they went all out. They canceled my work visa, you guys. I'm going to be totally honest with you. They called immigration, canceled my work visa, and they gave me, without asking me, they made it where I had to give them 30 days notice. So they took the rent from May out of my check. This all happened in April. So without giving me the option, which was fine because I needed to stay till May anyway. I needed time to find a new place. But back on subject. So that really hurt me, but I was glad they came to me and told me. But then the part that surprised me was my co-teacher, who I gifted flowers, gave her a handmade card thanking her for helping me and advising me and this, that, and the other. She came to my friend who she doesn't talk to, my work friend, and was telling her how it was difficult to work with and was trying to fish information out of her, try to figure out what happened to me. And that really just hurt me because I was like, wow, I wasted time and money trying to put together a gift for you, and this is how you treat me? That's how you felt about me? I didn't talk to her. I wasn't friends with her. And the job was isolated. You weren't really required to work together. You have the option to choose to teach the kids the same thing, but she wasn't a professional teacher. She didn't have a degree. She was working at a conversation school. Her lifestyle was totally different. She was a smoker, drinker, party head. She had this excessive amount of white guilt. She did her own little thing. And that's cool. I just wasn't for it. And I knew I couldn't trust her when I saw that she would come to me to gossip about people that she was friends with and hung out with, and then still hang out with them. So I was like, if she's willing to share this information about these people, she's doing the same thing to me. And I already kind of had a feeling that she couldn't keep her mouth shut because people that I didn't, talk to, that I didn't like, if I shared anything about why I didn't talk to that person or why they don't like me, I could tell that they acted kind of, different around me. So I learned not to trust her. And this just proved to me, I'm glad I never became close with her, never became friends with her. Everything just happened so crazy. And then the part that really got me just happened to me the other day, and this would encourage me to make this YouTube video right now. So I recently just moved, and after I moved, I thought that it would be a great idea for my boyfriend to try, some food from this, I won't even say the name of the restaurant. There's this black restaurant in Osaka. And if you live in Osaka, you know this restaurant. I've actually shared images of it on, Google. I used my, Google account to give them a nice review, shared tons of pictures, as well as on Instagram. I left my Instagram stuff up. I deleted everything from Google, and I did this before this happened, and I'm grateful that I did. I had stopped ordering from them because their food was expensive, and he was extremely unprofessional about how he was going about delivery during the pandemic. He didn't know how to apologize and accept the fact that he made mistakes. He had excuses for everything, and every time I would order, the total would vary. It would be a different amount for the food, it would be a different amount for the delivery fee, and when I called him out on it, instead of actually apologizing, so when I called him out on it, instead of actually apologizing, I was just met with excuses. Oh, we forgot to do this. I screwed up. there was this delivery guy, we're all a part of this group, blah blah blah. It's like, stop making up fucking excuses, just say I'm fucking sorry. And excuse me, I hate to say this, and I really hate this from our own people, because as a black person, I want to support black businesses, I really do. And if we were to be real with ourselves as black people, this is one of the biggest reasons why we don't, and why we would rather go to a white or Asian business. Excuse me for those of you that are my white and or Asian, fans or whatever, subscribers. I don't mean it in that kind of way. Hear me out. I'm not saying that I'm not going to support somebody because they're white or Asian, but of course, especially as a minority, I would love to show a lot more support for my own business, just like how you guys do, especially if you're a minority in the US or something like that. So it really hurts me when you try to do that, but then it's like, the customer service on black businesses sucks. Like, sure, like I can go to a nail salon or some other restaurant and maybe the staff might treat me like garbage, but normally at least the product is good. Thus, I have no complaints. They can say whatever they want about me, in Vietnamese or Chinese while they're doing my nails. My nails come out looking good. So that's that. And so I feel like you don't get that same experience at black restaurants. They try to skimp on stuff, cut back stuff, you complain. It's like, what? So, of course, he didn't have an attitude or anything, but it just really didn't rub me the right way. It's like, you can't say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Instead, it was, let's put the blame on this group. Let's put the blame on other people. No, it was your fault. It's your employee's fault. And I wasn't saying this to get anybody in trouble, but naturally, I want an apology. I want to understand, hey, why am I being charged like $40 more this time and, this much less last time? Not going to get into that. This video isn't about that. But this is the part that made me upset. So the next time that I order food, the guy comes to my place. And he had trouble finding it, which was fine. And I kind of was upset that he was coming here. I was like, I don't really like, I had to send him a message on Instagram anyway to direct him here. But it just felt even weirder, like having him physically come to my place. So he came here and tried to act phony, ask how was I, and if I was still working at the same company, and asked me why did I move at first. And so I was like, had some problems there, whatever. And so then when he saw I wasn't telling him the information he wanted to know, he tells me that one of the students at the school, a student that wasn't mine, I'll just say the student's name, Jack, his mother. I need to find her name and post it. But anyway, she's an older white woman. And she has some old, sick, dying husband or whatever, who basically she lives off of him. She milks his money dry, doesn't have a life. She hangs out at foreign restaurants and gets to know the owners and basically eats, drinks, and talks to them all day. She's frequently at this restaurant owned by this black guy. I got so, he really caught me off guard. I was like, so you asked me a question when you knew the answer, just to see if I was willing to, one, tell you the truth, or how much I was willing to share with you. So he tells me she said that the school had told them that, you were sick for a couple of weeks, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm just like, now, first of all, that's not true because you follow me on Instagram. Secondly, your petty, clown self, he doesn't like your pictures or communicate with you or anything like that if you're not ordering food from him. So as long as you're ordering food and stuff, he'll talk to you. He saw that I was upset because I didn't message him back or say anything after he gave that crap excuse and didn't apologize for giving me random delivery fees. And so, and then again, it was each time there'd be a different problem with him. So one time, the food was being charged differently. The next time, the delivery fee changed. And so, I told him about it. And so I was I wasn't going off on him or anything. I just nicely messaged, hey, I hate to be petty, but, am I being charged X amount of money? It was 3 different mistakes that were made. So 3 different orders, 3 different mistakes, even though I ordered the exact same thing each time. Sometimes I even ordered less stuff but was being charged more. And then the other thing was, he wouldn't tell you the total that was due until your food was either there or on its way. So the whole thing was just really crappy. But again, back on subject, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know if this guy's Christian or not, but to my knowledge, he is. And the fact that I was a regular loyal customer probably helped bring him in customers because I had so many pictures and I had the highest rated, review for his restaurant on there, to my knowledge. For you to try to stab me in the back, and it's one thing for you to ask me personally, it's you could have messaged me before you came here, but for you to come to my place and then try to figure out what was going on and piece it together, and it wasn't just going to be for himself, he's going to share it with his best friend. He likes to talk and socialize with you, which me and my coworkers didn't. We normally like to go there when it was busy so that he would leave us alone. He's a nice guy and all, But again, like at the end of the day, like that just really like left a bad taste in my mouth. I hate gossiping people, especially adults. And then it's like, we're in a country as legitimate minorities. We're already minorities in our home country. We're here in Japan. You're a grown man, and to my knowledge, you have children. And I'm grown too, but I'm a young adult. Like he is old enough to be my father. Why do you want to start shit like that? And she's not even one of us. Like, why are you going back and running back and giving information? So, of course, I lied to him. And I was like, oh, like, until July, which was the initial date I was supposed to have had. But, of course, he follows me on Instagram. He saw and liked my picture in which I talked about, my job opportunities and options. So he knows, what's going on. So it just really, like, made me so upset. So since people are already talking, it's going to get out anyway. Might as well just say what's going on. And long story short, I quit my job. It wasn't because I wanted to, but I felt like I had to. I couldn't trust and depend on them to keep me there, so I had to search for another job. I accepted 2 jobs, actually. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the second one, which is the one for a university position. My current job is basically the exact same thing as that job. I'm actually working for their competitor now. My salary actually went up a little bit. Not by much, but I'm getting $20 more than my last job was paying me. Same freedom, same position, same area. I didn't get to finish that video, but I'll hopefully do that today too. But I moved into my new apartment. I wanted to do a tour, but now I have all of my crap here and I haven't finished unpacking properly. And I really want to like decorate and make it look nicer before I like show you guys around. So that's that. I'm fine. Don't worry. I have another job. I have, a new visa. Everything is fine right now. But I was really freaked out. Like in the moment, it really took me off guard. All of the stuff going on was the last thing that I needed. And as I wrote about on Instagram, like whenever people like tried to do me bogus, whenever people tried to humiliate me, take away things from me, my job, my house, whatever, I get everything back tenfold. This place is a million times nicer than my last. It almost looks identical to my last place. It has the same door, same closet, but it's bigger space-wise. I have 2, burners, like stovetop burners, which that's not normal to have in Japan. And it's gas, not electric at that, which is even better. I have a heated bathtub. I have a dryer in my bathroom. I have a vanity, powder room. I have a super toilet, everything. So, and I'm on the 9th floor, and there's keyed entry, delivery box. I couldn't ask for more at this place. And, just know